Mrs. Aurelia, what day will you be moving out?
What? Mr. Watson, I didn't expect this at all.
You are a disgrace to us living in this apartment. We advise you to leave right away.
Mr. Watson, do you not work for the management firm? To send a message like that, in my opinion, is a little inappropriate. I think you're acting inappropriately.
I'm acting inappropriately? A poor person tells me that? There is a valid cause for this.
Is my poverty your justification for evicting me, according to you? Furthermore, there is no justification for me to go. I don't believe you have the authority to tell me that, though.
Does that imply you are unaware of how disruptive you are to this real estate property?
Who? Me? I tend to keep to myself.
Correct. You are a burden to us, living here in poverty. I advise you to leave before things become unpleasant.
It's quite disrespectful of you to try to get rid of me because you think I'm a poor resident. You have no business trying to force me from my house. You cannot do such a thing, not with my permission.
You're poor, and I'm only telling the truth. With people like you living here, our business suffers. People who are better off should live in this condo. By succeeding in life, they have earned their place here. This condo's reputation is damaged by individuals like you.
What exactly are you saying? That is absurd. Did someone tell you that, or did you conjure up that conceit all by yourself?
I can't say where I got the information, but it's trustworthy. Thus, I'm kicking you out.
You're telling me that I was asked to leave because I look poor?
Hey lady, you don't look poor. You are poor. Indeed, with its poor people, this area gets run down.
And you believe you have the authority to carry out this action?
Exactly. Because you poor people don't treat things well, you damage them. Because of this, your apartment is less well kept than those in the other buildings where the residents would fare better.
I believe your imagination is out of control. I've never heard of somebody getting evicted from their home merely because someone believes they are poor.
I am an employee of a significant real estate firm that oversees this property. Thus, what I'm stating is accurate. I'm going to evict you at the end of the month and charge you for the costs of repairs.
You may not charge me for that. I'm under no duty to pay for that.
You residents harm our business. Pay for all the damage and leave right away.
Mr. Watson, did you contact me on your own? If that's the case, stop this crap and speak to your boss right away.
I'm in charge of running the condo, and I won't stand for anything like this. I'm telling you to leave because of that.
Say whatever you want. Obviously, nothing I say can persuade you otherwise. I don't need to deal with you any longer.
A notice of eviction and a bill for repairs are being sent. Pay up and leave. You don't want to learn what happens if you resist. I can assure you of that.
Don't send any of those to me. Mr. Watson, like I said, I think it's in your best interest to talk to your boss right now. You understand this is wrong to do. You're hearing me, right?
Mrs. Aurelia, how many times did I tell you to leave, you poor people?
I believe I made it obvious that I am staying put.
I left the bill in your mailbox, but you haven't looked at it yet? When will you pay for the repairs? You don't have a choice in this situation, as I've previously stated. Move out and pay what you owe.
Oh, the bill arrived safely, and I carefully read it. I'm not paying anything, though, as I already stated. You are overcharging for nothing at all.
What? You selfish old woman.
Watch your mouth.
You're just a poor person hanging on to this rundown condo for years. After being asked to go, you continue to attempt to live here. It's really embarrassing what you're doing. Just follow instructions and leave. Leave this condo right away, you miserable ass. It will be you who will seem awful, not me.
You are aware of your absurdity. You want to kick me and my family out that bad?
Finally, it appears that you are processing it in your jaded old head. You poor people deserve to be looked down upon, after all. By the way, I intend to increase the condo's rent. Soon, you won't even be able to afford to live here, which means that you don't really belong here.
Mr. Watson, you are aware that you are unable to make such a decision on your own?
You old woman doesn't know anything. I'm free to pursue any course I choose, even consented upon by the condo owner.
The owner? Really?
Have you forgotten that I'm working for a real estate firm? Why, you must be going senile. I will undoubtedly stay in touch with the owner. People in your situation need to go. It's your fault that you're poor, so it's only fair that you're treated this way.
Unbelievable.
You are aware that I am equally astounded by how stubborn you are. This condo is unaffordable to the poor. The owner directly informed me that I had authorization to kick you out.
Are you positive about that?
Without a doubt. You're a jerk to ask me that.
Therefore, we won't be leaving. But I suppose we just have to end our agreement with your company.
What agreement? You are not making sense. Why do you say agreement?
I am the owner of this building. Do you truly mean that you didn't know?
Owner? Come on, please. You're not the owner.
If you're not sure, you should double-check. I keep asking you to ask your boss because of this. You're attempting to evict the condo's owner. Don't you find that crazy?
What? You're the owner?
Exactly, Mr. Watson. You're only an employee for the management firm. Did you really believe you could evict me? Everyone is aware that you don't have the authority to get rid of me. I just believe you wanted the money for repairs more than you wanted to evict me.
Pause for a moment, Mrs. Aurelia. Are you truly the owner? I find it difficult to comprehend this.
I truly don't care if you have trouble understanding it. I never imagined that a millennial employee of a real estate firm would treat me in this manner. Does the poor need to leave? That is so absurd. I also own 15 extra buildings. I am not nearly as poor as you suggest I am.
Are you joking?
Are you labeling me as poor person simply because I've lived here for a long time? I must be fooling you. Now, clarify for me what this invoice is for.
Hold on, please. I believe I made all the mistakes.
You did, for sure. Actually, you couldn't have been more mistaken. Was there anything you intended to do with the fake invoice?
False, what do you mean? It is a legitimate invoice. Do you not see? However, you are not required to pay. I had no idea that you were the property's owner. Consequently, I made a mistake. I'll admit that, so let's just go on. You can just discard that invoice.
Did you really believe you could get away with it? You sent me a fake invoice. I am the property's owner, therefore, of course, I am aware that there are no plans for any repairs. I get the impression from what you did that you were attempting to con me out of money.
I wasn't, don't get me wrong. Later, I was going to ask my boss for permission.
In other words, you haven't received your boss's approval, and you most definitely haven't told me. The owner. You've therefore taken it upon yourself to make up an invoice without informing anyone else.
I suppose at this point you may put it that way.
Unbelievable. Do you realize that you broke the law? What you've done is essentially a fraud attempt. You attempted to force me to pay for unneeded repairs to a building I own. You're a true con man.
There's no reason to get enraged over this. I expressed my regret. I didn't consider it to be a huge deal. I was finally going to report it to my boss, as I had stated. It was only a miscommunication. I honestly don't have anything else to say because you are the owner. My regrets.
You don't really believe that an apology will suffice to clear things up, do you? I'll inform your company about this.
You don't have to carry that out. Why bother, you ask? I don't believe that is required. Just solve this now, please.
You forced me to make a payment for something wholly unnecessary. You are most likely also violated the rights of other residents. That brings to mind how I've noticed more residents leaving and found that to be rather strange. I believe you are to blame for the recent eviction of the residents. I believe it's best to look into this situation more thoroughly because of fresh information that has come to light.
No, hold on a second. It's really not essential. I didn't do anything. I promise. I tried something like that for the first time when I did what I did to you. I'm not sure what happened to me.
You're not sure what happened to you. That is what you call an excuse. However, it shouldn't matter whether it's looked into if you claim you didn't do anything, right? I'll ask the right individuals to look into this situation. If you're really clean, it shouldn't be a concern of yours.
Oh, please, let's not. I actually didn't do anything. So please don't.
What you should have done was carry out your duties as directed. But you sure did a whole lot of other things. I hope I won't have to interact with you in the future. I therefore intend to assign another firm to manage my 15 additional properties. I cannot allow a company that employs someone like you to manage my real estate.
What do you mean?
This means I'm dismissing the company you represent. It provided me a chance to review the contract since you are in charge of the building. I don't want my properties to be managed by a real estate firm whose employee mocks poor people.
It would be terrible if you were to break the contracts for 15 buildings, particularly if I'm the cause. Why do you do it? I assume you're kidding. You wouldn't really terminate the contract, would you?
Young man, I'm totally serious. You had better give the events leading up to this some serious thought. You attempt to force me out of my home and con me out of my money. Both of those crimes are extremely serious.
I'm truly sorry. Please, let's leave it in the past. Why didn't you just let me know that you were the owner? We had a chance to stop all of this. This would never have occurred.
You're now blaming me? You would have done this to some other residents, even if you hadn't done it to me. However, in a way, I'm glad it was me. Who knows if you've done anything similar to the other residents until we finish the investigation.
I told you I didn't. Just let it go.
I'm sorry, but I'm unable to and will not. In fact, I believe I'll call the police. Hence, take advantage of this chance to start your life. I then got in touch with Mr. Watson's boss. I talked about everything that occurred. I overheard Mr. Watson pleading for mercy when he was called into his boss's office. He was fired on the spot. There are no surprises. As it turned out, he was defrauding the other residents just as he had attempted to defraud me. It was discovered that he deceived 10 additional residents into paying for unnecessary repairs and even forced them to leave their homes. I reported Mr. Watson to the police and filed a complaint. He was sued by the residents he defrauded in order to recover their money, and he was also sued for damages related to expel them from their homes. I really hope he saved up the money he took from those poor people because he will need it badly, especially considering that the amount he must pay is significantly higher than the sum he defrauded them of. He'll have to put forth a lot of effort to pay everything back. He was fortunate to escape prison for what he did, despite the fact that his life is pretty much completely destroyed, and he now spends every waking minute seeking payback from his victims. With regard to this situation, the management business expressed regret and reached a settlement with me. Additionally, I was able to manage my property with a more respected company and negotiate a contract with better terms.